Colorado is trying to push Meta, the company that owns Facebook and Instagram, to make some changes.
Yeah, our state is joining 32 others in suing the social media app for addictive features targeting kids. During our conversation is our legal analyst, Whitney Traylor. Good morning, Whitney.
Good morning, Jordan and Corey.
Explain to us what this lawsuit is all about, if there's any merit to it.
Excuse me, I think there is some merit to it, actually, and this actually reminds me of the tobacco industry cases. Because essentially what they're saying is that, look, Meta, you knew that your product was addictive and you knew that kids were being harmed by this, and that they were essentially lying about it. It was impacting the kids' mental health, and Meta hasn't done anything about it. There's another thing that in 1998, the Congress passed KUSA, and this was a law that required parental consent for kids under 13, and Meta was easily violating that. I mean, if you didn't put in a date, it automatically put in a date that said you were at least 13 years old. So there are all these ways to get around it. And so the AGs now, it's what, 15 Republican and 18 Democrat AGs have now come together and filed this lawsuit saying, hey, you're in violation.
So what happens if the plaintiffs are successful?
Right, so every case, when you sue, there's two types of damages. There's legal and equitable. And so legal is essentially money damages. So, hey, you harmed me, now you have to compensate me. Equitable is when they take some sort of action. So, knock down this tree or keep this house up or whatever. So in this case, what they're asking for is for sure money that will go towards mental health resources for kids, because these are the state AGs suing. And then they're going to ask them to change their practices. And Facebook is saying, look, we've implemented 30 different policies to help these young people. And what the AGs are saying is it's obviously not enough.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of legal experts like yourself say in cases like this, sometimes it's pretty hard to prove that Meta actually was doing this.
Yeah.
How are they going to go about addressing it this time around?
No, it's a great question, because proof of, and really the issue is, can you show that Meta was the direct cause of these mental health effects? And so that's really hard, because you have to, when you look at your mental health, it's so impacted by your daily environment, your peers, your family, and all these other things. So that's going to be a real issue in terms of how they pursue that and prove that this was the direct cause of these mental health damages. Now, the fact that Meta, and there's a lot of evidence as I've seen, I mean, obviously there's been nothing put forward in court, so there's no, quote, evidence at this point, but what they're gathering, what the AGs have gathered, is a lot of evidence that Meta knew a lot of kids under 13 were having access to this. And in fact, there was a public debate with a young kid who, in the CEO of Meta, and he said, hey, I've been on since I was 8. I have all these followers who are under 13. And the guy said, no, you didn't. He just kind of tried to
put it under the rug a little
right,
bit. Yeah,
exactly. So there's a lot of, I think as this moves forward, there's going to be a lot of evidence similar to that. And I think it's ultimately going to settle. I mean, it just makes sense, because Facebook or Meta doesn't want to have a judge or jury ordering them to do something.
Right.
If they settle, they'll be able to participate in whatever the settlement terms are.
right.
Colorado is one of 33 states that are part of this. Why is this all happening in a San Francisco courtroom, though?
Right, so I think it's because the San Francisco AG really headed this up, and there are some federal and state claims, and so in California they have a lot of laws in favor of employees and consumer, kind of the little guy, if you will, and so I think there may also be some California laws that they're implementing as well. And there's some states that are suing individually, so there's state and federal claims in this case, but there's other states, I think 6 states, that are suing individually for similar issues.
All right, well, we'll have to see how it all turns out and bring you back to help us understand everything going on.
All right.
Whitney, thanks for being here.
Thanks.
Let's get